Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big topics to help you understand what really matters. Today, we're digging into a fascinating new report that might just change the way you think about your entire career. So yeah, let's jump right in.
You know, it feels like the world of work is changing at lightning speed, doesn't it? It leaves a lot of us wondering, are my skills actually ready for what's coming in, say, 2025? It's a huge question, and today, we're going to try and find some answers. All right, so to really get our heads around this, we've got to start with the big picture. What is actually going on in the job market right now? You might be surprised. Okay, so if you zoom way out and look at things from like a 30,000-foot view, it's kind of weird. The major skill groups that the economy needs, things like business management, IT, they've actually been pretty stable for the last 5 years. But, and this is a big but, that is not the whole story. Not even close. The real action, the real change is happening way down at the ground level.
Because when you look closer, you see that the specific skills needed for individual jobs are changing like crazy. To really see what I mean, let's zoom in and look at a perfect, real-world example.
Okay, think about a social worker, a job you'd think is all about core human skills, like empathy and communication, and it is. Those are still absolutely essential. But now there's this whole new layer. Employers are looking for people who can also bring in a data-driven mindset. Skills like program evaluation and risk assessment are suddenly becoming super important. It's this incredible blend of old and new.
So with all this change, it's easy to feel a little lost, right? Like, how are you supposed to navigate this new landscape? How do you figure out which skills are actually worth investing your time and energy in? Well, the report gives us something of a compass to help guide the way.
It's called the Skills Matrix, and honestly, it's a pretty powerful tool for thinking about your career. It basically maps out skills based on two really simple but crucial things: how much demand there is for a skill and how easily you can transfer that skill from one job to another. Let me show you how it breaks down.
So think of it like a grid with 4 boxes. You've got your in-demand skills. These are the superstars, high demand, and you can take them anywhere. Think project management. Then you have up-and-coming skills, which are hot right now but maybe a bit more specialized. Then there are transferable skills, kind of the bedrock skills that are useful in a lot of places. And finally, niche skills, which are super specific to certain jobs. What's so cool about this is it gives us a snapshot of not just where skills are today, but the direction they're heading in tomorrow. Let's watch one in action. Take a skill like continuous improvement management. You can actually see it on a journey here, moving from being more specialized over toward that in-demand transferable quadrant. And why is that happening? Well, think about it. As more and more companies bring in AI to get more efficient, the human skill of knowing how to improve processes becomes valuable in like every department.
And here's another fantastic example, data governance. This used to be a super niche IT thing, right? Something only the tech folks worried about. Well, not anymore. It's literally breaking out of its silo. Now people in finance and even sales need to understand it. It just goes to show you how fast the ground can shift under your feet. Okay, let's put a spotlight on one area that is being completely reshaped by all this tech, especially AI. I'm talking about the creative industries.
Get ready for a number that might just blow your mind: 7 out of 10.
That's the number of jobs outside of what we'd call the creative sector that now require creative skills. We're talking software development, restaurant management, you name it. Why? Because these new tools are making creativity more accessible, and things like design and branding are becoming essential for pretty much everyone.
But what about the creative professionals themselves? How do they feel about generative AI barging into their workspace? Well, as you can imagine, the feelings are complicated. It's a real mix of excitement and, frankly, some serious anxiety.
On the one hand, a lot of creatives see it as this incredible new assistant. It's fantastic for just getting unstuck, for coming up with thought starters and inspiration. It can handle the boring, routine stuff, which frees them up to focus on the big, brilliant ideas. But then there's the other side of the coin, the big nagging questions. You hear people asking, would Gen AI devalue the creative mind behind the work? They're worried about ethics, about intellectual property. I mean, who even owns this stuff? These aren't easy questions, and it's something the whole industry is grappling with right now.
Okay, so this is all fascinating, but here's the billion-dollar question. How do you take all of this and actually use it to plan your next move? Let's get practical. The report lays out a really helpful framework for this. It boils down to 5 key things you should look at when you're thinking about a career change. First, the wage. What are employers willing to pay? Second, demand. Are companies actually hiring? Third, growth. Is this a field that's expanding? Fourth is a big one, skills similarity. How big of a jump is it from what you can do now? And finally, historical transitions. Have other people successfully made this kind of move before? It's a really solid checklist. Let's see this in action with a real-world example, because that's where it really clicks. Imagine you're a customer service officer. You already have a fantastic set of core skills, right? You're a great communicator, a natural problem solver. These are super valuable. Now, what happens if you take those existing skills and just add a few new ones on top? We're not talking about starting from scratch. Maybe you'll learn a bit about operational efficiency, coordination, the fundamentals of a supply chain.
Suddenly, a new door opens. You could become a logistics planner, a role that's growing and totally in demand. See, it proves that your next career move doesn't have to be some giant, terrifying leap. It can just be a smart, strategic step forward, building on the foundation you've already got.
So that's the real takeaway here. The future of work isn't about throwing everything out and starting over. It's about knowing your strengths and strategically building on them to get where you want to go. Your next big career move is probably a lot closer than you think. So it leaves just one question. What's the first skill you're going to explore?